Are you stuck in a cycle that's holding you back from reaching your true potential? Imagine breaking free from distractions, regaining control of your mind, and unlocking a version of yourself that's driven, focused, and unstoppable. In this video, we'll explore why every man should quit porn and channel his energy into self-improvement, using the timeless wisdom of Stoicism, ready to transform your life and build a stronger, more disciplined future. Let's dive in. Lesson 1. Boosts self-esteem and control. Stoicism puts a lot of weight on controlling ourselves and knowing what we can do. Epictetus, a famous Stoic philosopher, said, "We can't control the wind, but we can adjust our sails." This wise saying tells us that even though we can't always change the things that happen to us, we can always change what we do, think, and want. When we watch porn, on the other hand, it makes us dependent, taking away the very power we should value. Men who give up porn are taking the first step toward taking back control of their lives. Stoicism tells us to follow what is good and makes sense in our lives. Porn, which is based on short-term pleasure and fiction, goes against this. When men give in to the allure of pornography, they let outside influences control how they feel and act. This makes them feel bad about themselves because they can't control their wants. It takes time to develop self-control, but it is necessary to keep your self-esteem high. For every time a man resists the urge to do something sexual, he gets better at controlling his own thoughts. Mastery over oneself is one of the most important Stoic ideas. Alexander the Great said, "The happiness of your life depends on the quality of your thoughts." Giving up porn makes you believe even more in your ability to be good and sensible. A man's sense of self-worth grows with each small win over this urge. He is no longer controlled by outside forces. He feels better about himself when he knows that his power is inside him and not in short-term, surface-level joys. You can get better at self-control if you use it. When a man decides to stop using porn, he starts a trip that makes him stronger. He gets better at controlling his urges, which makes him feel more confident in other parts of his life. His thoughts get sharper, clearer, and more focused on what's important. According to the Stoic tradition, being in charge of your wants gives you a greater sense of satisfaction. When a man stops looking for short-term pleasures, he can focus on long-term goals, living a purposeful life, and acting in line with his values. Every day that goes by without porn makes a man feel better about himself, which reminds him that real power comes from being disciplined and in charge. Lesson 2. Improves focus on personal growth. Stoicism says that you should always be trying to improve yourself. The Stoics thought that virtue was the best thing in life, and that we should try to live in a way that is in line with nature, reason, and our real potential. But watching porn stops this trip in its tracks. It takes men's attention away from their own growth and development, taking away time and energy that could be used to get better. When a man does porn, he is giving himself a fake sense of pleasure. Stoic teachings tell us that pleasure is temporary, especially happiness that comes from outside sources. Being truly happy comes from growing as a person and taking control of your life. It was the Stoic philosopher Seneca who told us to stay away from these kinds of distractions because they lead us away from the path of virtue and understanding. Men who stop doing porn can put their time and mental energy back into what's important, growing as a person. He can use that energy to get stronger, learn new things, make his relationships better, or pick up new skills. He is able to focus on his long-term goals instead of letting short-term pleasures pull him in. Stoicism says that if you want to grow as a person, you have to be patient and persistent. Instead of happening all at once, becoming the best version of yourself is a process that takes time. Men can relearn the fun of this process after giving up porn. He is no longer focused on short-term pleasures. Instead, he can fully commit to making himself better in important ways. When there is no porn, a man can think about his life and what it's all for. Stoics believe that people should think about themselves every day, which is a great way to grow as a person. The Stoic master Marcus Aurelius told himself every day to think about whether what he was doing was in line with his higher values. Without porn, it's easier for men to do this self-examination, which helps them change their ways and grow in a way that is in line with their values. When a man starts to see success in his personal growth, he becomes more motivated. The joy of becoming a better person is much greater than the empty pleasure of porn. He becomes driven by a need to improve, push himself, and have a reason for living. Stoicism teaches us that the pursuit of virtue and wisdom, not pleasures in the outside world, is where real happiness lies. Lesson 3. Strengthens real relationships. Stoicism stresses how important it is to connect with other people and have bonds. The Stoics thought that people are social by nature and that the relationships we make with others are important for living a good life. Pornography, on the other hand, changes the way we think about relationships and closeness, which can make us have unrealistic standards and feel disconnected from the people around us. Porn teaches guys how to have fun without putting in the time and thought that real relationships need. It changes intimacy from a meaningful conversation between two people to a business deal. According to the Stoics, this takes away from the very core of what it means to be human. If you want to be truly close to someone, you need to believe them, respect them, and feel emotionally connected with them. These are all things that you can't find in pornography. Men can start to understand relationships again once they stop doing porn. He learns to value real relationships more than silly ones. Stoicism tells us to be kind, understanding, and respectful to other people. This is true not only for friendships and family ties, but also for romantic connections. Since men don't have to look at porn anymore, they can fully enjoy the people in their lives. Porn makes people have unrealistic standards, which can make them unhappy in real relationships. The Stoic way of dealing with relationships is based on the truth. They knew that nobody is perfect and that we should accept people as they are. A man can start to enjoy the beauty and complexity of real relationships once he lets go of the dream world of porn. He learns to be more patient, more understanding, and better able to make deep, meaningful relationships. Building stronger real ties is good for your happiness and for getting better as a person. How our relationships change over time shows how much we've grown. We invest in ourselves when we invest in other people. Stoicism says that the best relationships are the ones that make us better people. Men can find these kinds of relationships when they give up porn. These are the kinds of relationships that push them, encourage them, and bring out the best in them. Lesson 4. Increases drive to achieve goals. The Stoics believe that you should set goals and work hard to reach them. They talked about how important it is to live with a reason and always try to do your best. Porn, on the other hand, makes you less motivated and driven. It's easy to get away from the problems of real life, which makes it harder to keep your mind on long-term goals. If a man stops doing porn, it takes a big thing away from his life. Using his energy in this way will help him work harder to reach his goals. This fits with the idea of greatness from the Stoics. The Stoics thought that we should try to be the best versions of ourselves, which means putting in a lot of effort, following rules, and concentrating. When a man stops doing porn, he gets his drive back. He is no longer wasting his time and energy on things that don't help him. He can instead use that energy to work toward his personal, business, or spiritual goals. Making progress toward a worthwhile goal is much more satisfying than the short-term pleasure of porn. A big part of Stoicism is the idea that you should act. The Stoics thought that we should do something every day to reach our goals, not just think about them. Man who stops porn is more likely to change things in other parts of his life. He takes more initiative, concentrates better, and is more determined to achieve. Epictetus, a Stoic scholar, said that we should pay attention to what we can change. People use porn as a way to escape the problems they face in real life. Men take charge of their lives when they stop doing porn. Because Stoicism teaches us to be confident and determined, he is no longer running away from his problems. Instead, he is meeting them head-on. For a guy, Having a sense of purpose and drive grows as he works toward his goals. He becomes more focused, driven, and dedicated to doing his best in every part of his life. The main idea behind Stoic thought is to act in a way that leads to virtue and excellence. Lesson 5. Reduces guilt and anxiety. The Stoics thought that making good choices in life would make you happy. Feeling calm and happy inside comes from doing things that are in line with our values. When we do things that go against our ideals, on the other hand, we feel guilty and anxious. A lot of the time, guys feel bad emotions like shame, guilt, and anxiety when they watch porn. Giving up porn is a way to get your behaviors back in line with your values. People who follow Stoicism believe that the best way to find happiness is to live a good life. Giving up porn takes away a big source of worry and stress from a man's life. He doesn't have to feel bad about doing something that goes against his values anymore. Stoicism uses the word apatheia to describe a calm state of mind. When we are no longer bothered by outside events or our own wants, we have reached this state. Porn makes people unhappy because it goes against the Stoic ideal of mastering oneself. A man can get closer to this state of apatheia by giving up porn. He isn't ruled by his wants anymore, and he can feel more at peace with himself. One of the things that can stop a man from reaching his full potential is guilt and worry. Men who are always worried about what they do are less able to work on growing and improving themselves. Men can get rid of these bad feelings by giving up porn, which lets them focus on living a good, meaningful life. Lesson 6. Builds discipline for success. Following rules is an important part of being a Stoic. The Stoics thought that we should be regulated in what we do, what we think, and what we want in order to live a good life. Quitting porn is a test of your discipline. Men have to fight the urge for short-term pleasure in order to pursue long-term growth and self-improvement. Self-control is not an easy thing to have. It's something that needs to be worked on over time. Men get better at controlling their urges and staying focused on their goals when they stop porn. He follows this practice in other parts of his life too. He gets more organized with his work, his connections, and his own growth. Epictetus, a Stoic philosopher, said that we should train ourselves to not care about the good or bad things that happen to us in the outside world. Discipline means staying focused on what's important, even when there are temptations and other things that want our attention. Giving up porn is a great way to get better at this kind of discipline. It teaches a man to put his long-term health and happiness ahead of his immediate pleasure. Men can be more successful in every part of their lives as they become more disciplined. Having discipline is important for reaching any important goal and for growing as a person. Men strengthen this base by giving up porn, which sets them up for success in every part of their lives. Lesson 7. Enhances overall physical health. It is said in Stoicism that we should take care of our bodies and thoughts. The Stoics thought that being healthy was an important part of having a good life. Porn, on the other hand, can be bad for your health. For men, it can lead to addiction, which can lower their energy, drive, and health as a whole. Men can start to focus on improving their health once they stop doing porn. He feels more energized and wants to do more physical things, like sports and exercise. It is said in Stoicism that we should take care of our bodies because they are how we experience life. An individual can put their physical health first by giving up porn, which in turn improves their general quality of life. Lesson 8. Improves emotional stability. As Stoics teach, our feelings should not guide us. Instead, reason and virtue should. Porn can make you feel unstable emotionally because it often makes you feel bad emotions like shame, guilt, and worry. Men can regain control of their feelings and feel more emotionally stable by giving up porn. Being mindful and self-aware are things that Stoicism tells us to do. After giving up porn, a man is more aware of his feelings and can handle them better. Now that his wants aren't controlling him, he can go through life with more calm and mental balance. Lesson 9. Encourages a healthier mindset. As the Stoics said, our thoughts make our world. Porn can make a man feel bad about himself, which can make him unhappy with life and feel like he's not good enough. If a man stops doing porn, he can improve his health and happiness. It is said in Stoicism that we should focus on what we can change and let go of what we can't. Porn makes people have unrealistic standards and makes them feel like they are not good enough. Men who stop porn can focus on their own growth and development instead of looking at other people and judging them. Giving up porn is more than just giving up a bad habit. It's about committing to a life with meaning, discipline, and improvement. Stoicism tells us that the only way to be truly happy is to live by our values and try to be the best person we can be. For long-term personal progress and a life with meaning and fulfillment, a man can give up porn and work on improving himself.